can't wait to see you cover Underworld's terrible VFX and the excellent Trial of a Time Lord opening. We're going to go over some Doctor Who visual effects because that went down really, really well. It was like 4 months ago I did this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take some suggestions from Twitter and then from YouTube, the community tab, when I did a post for this. We're going to watch some classic Doctor Who and some revived Doctor Who. Now, people keep on mentioning Underworld. I have not seen Underworld, unfortunately, so if you have any specific moments of VFX you want me to talk about, you're going to have to tell me which part and roughly when in the episode it happens, okay? Because unfortunately, I've not watched Underworld. I'm sorry. I've seen those weird creatures in the masks, the weird dome masks, but I'm going to need a little bit more help from that. But we're going to start with the revival. We got a response from Doctor Whom, question mark on Twitter. The rocket from the beginning of Planet of the Ood, easily one of the most unnoticed bad CGI moments in New Who. And I don't remember that, so we're going to take a look at that real quick. The rocket from Planet of the Ood. Let's take a look at this. James, just all of it? Okay, so we're going to... Okay. Somebody says part 2. Okay, so we'll go to part 2 of it when we get to Underworld. From Planet of the Ood, from Series 4, we're going to get the bad rocket. Okay, so first problem. This is like roughly the second or third frame of the shot. The rocket doesn't enter the frame. It starts like already here, so it already looks a little bit jarring. And then it goes over David Tennant and Catherine Tate's heads. Yeah, it's not the best. Honestly, this is just one shot, so it comes and goes like in 3 or 4 seconds. And Michael Telf was right, that it looks more like Thunderbird 3. It looks like the knockoff. It's the BBV version of Thunderbird 3, okay? Yeah, it doesn't look great. It does not look great, but it's just the one shot. If you're going to get anything right in this episode, you'd probably want those resources more for the big brain, which, this looks fine. Yeah, it's obviously just a big bit of green screen underneath a practical balcony set. Like, the balcony's obviously real. That's where they've been, you know. Yeah, you can see here, the balcony is real. The actors are there on it. So that's fine. They're just looking over at a big green screen set. It's fine. But the standout for Planet of the Ood, at least as far as I'm concerned for the visual effects, is this crane set piece. This is such a great set piece, by the way. I don't know if you... Yeah, who was it? James Strong? Who directed Planet of the Ood? Graham Harper. I almost said Graham Harper, and I thought better of it. No, turns out I was wrong. Like, this shot here, this is one of the best shots of revived Doctor Who. Do not at me. When the crane stops, look at that camera move. That's so good. And the crane claw is still rocking a bit. It feels like it's got weight to it, really. It looks... Doctor Who, not James Week. No, James Week or James Strong. But no, yeah, this is so cool. And like, yeah, and just him looking up, even he doesn't know what's happened. He thinks he's been caught. Yeah, that's a great shot. It's great framing, and it's a good effect as well. That whole crane chase is a really great way to get an action set piece in Doctor Who without using combat or violence. It's really great. It's a cartoony set piece with good stunt work. Look how it's going in and out of the crates as well. It looks solid. It looks like it's actually part of the world. There's a shadow here underneath as well, and the shadow is of a similar consistency to David Tennant's actual shadow, but, you know, these are different light sources. This is just top to bottom looking great. And look, that's a little bit clunky, but it's so quick that you don't really pay attention to it. This guy's having fun. I'm glad he's having fun. That for me, that's like the visual standout of Planet of the Ood. When you get past the Ood sphere, like the big wide shots, where is it? It's at the beginning of the story. Yeah, there's a reason they put this shot in the trailer. This shot looks really, really cool of the snow planet. Yeah, it's the blue box on the alien landscape that looks so... Like, it does not belong there, but it looks so great. And the planets in the background as well. Yeah, Planet of the Ood. I like that a lot. The rocket is a slight blemish on what is otherwise a great looking story. as when composed with the shadow is what sells it. It feels like it's inside of the environment. Yeah, and it's something that can be kind of easily overlooked when you're starting in visual effects and just trying to grapple with it. So this is from Kian Nichols, Fish Custard on Twitter. The conveyor belt scene in Kablam, or maybe the adipose if you haven't covered those. Yeah, let's stay in series 4. Let's go for Partners in Crime. Oh, now that's creepy. So let's get some audio. You can hear it's like rubber stretching. I liked that little pop sound effect. What I love about these adipose though, because this was a similar technology that they used. It was like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars technology where they were able to emulate crowds. So how they were able to get like hundreds of these little adipose animated and feel distinct amongst themselves. Like they weren't just copied and pasted assets. They're identical looking, but they're not animated doing exactly the same thing. And also, don't forget, this is pre-HD. Doctor Who would not be filmed in HD for another year for Planet of the Dead. This effect I remember being quite rough. Oh dear. Die for us again. Okay. Because this is just a frame, it's not too bad. But yeah, the morphing from Stacy to the adipose, oh boy, is a bit... And then she just collapses into... They've just taken the head model, separated it into adiposed sized blobs, and then made them drop. This looks aight, because they're interacting with the clothes. Like, the adipose's little feet on the fabric here is having a tangible effect. That's aight. That's not bad. Like, fidelity-wise, it's 2008 on a BBC budget. Now, but when I think of the adipose, this is the clip I think of. Such personality. Like, that's a little person. Like, it doesn't feel just like a generic blob. That feels like it's something with real character to it. It even gives a little cheeky wink to the camera. Like, watch its eyes. It winks to Donna. It blinks. It winks, and then it goes out the window. That's so cool. They didn't need to do that. I remember in Partners in Crime, though, you talk about the adipose. Oh, yeah, this one winks as well, doesn't it? Yeah. Little flirts. Yeah, one great part of Partners in Crime, though. It's obviously a basic effect. They've just put the spaceship in the night sky. But it's a wonderful shot. It exemplifies Doctor Who. Like, Wilf is looking in the exact opposite direction as this giant spaceship is looming behind him. That's cool. And that spaceship looks terrific. And listen to that sound. That sounds great. That's like some War of the Worlds, like ooh-la type stuff. I adore it. Look at them. They're so cute. They're so lovely. Don't the adipose, like, react when Miss Foster dies? It is Foster, right? As in foster mother? She falls. Yeah, that's just the basic drop effect. But the adipose react, don't they? Yeah, look at that. They're sad that Miss Foster has died. But this one on the left is like, yeah, I hated her anyway. This is the Chad adipose. This is the Chaddy pose. Who just watches a woman fall to her death from 100 feet in the air and is like, yeah, I've seen worse. I was in Nam. The conveyor belt scene in Kablam. Let's take a quick look and then we'll go classic. Okay, so I don't remember this being too bad. It is obviously just the 3 actors, Ryan, Yaz, and Charlie, on a soundstage, and they're having a wind machine blowing at them. That's not too bad. Like, that's not too bad, honestly. I think it's when they're actually on the conveyor belt that people take issue with the scene. That's not too bad. When is the bit everybody hates? I think the issue is that these shots go on for quite a long time. There was the bit when they high-five Charlie and then he falls off the conveyor belt. This shot is like 10 seconds long. You kind of lose the frenetic pace if it's just you plonk the camera. Okay, pretend you're on a conveyor belt and just yell. That's, yeah, I think maybe it had to be a bit more intercutting to kind of sell the speed of the conveyor belt. And that's the main note I've got so far. Okay, oh, the jump. Ah, yeah, someone in the chat mentioned the jump. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, now that's... Okay, I see what went wrong here. The jump itself was not the worst thing in the world. So the jump was not too bad. The jump off camera. Charlie reacts. The back is maybe a little bit too blurry. But then, they are already, like, they're like half a foot off the ground when they cut back. They need to jump in frame. Like, they shouldn't just be half a foot off the floor. Their feet should be not even on camera when it cuts and then they drop down. Yeah, you don't get the sense of the scale. It just looks like they've done a quick jump and then they've landed straight back down. Yeah. And then and because there's no like actual distance for them to actually travel down, Winnie breaking everything in the background, when they fall over, it doesn't look convincing. It's like you've just leapt 5 centimeters in the air and then fallen down. Why have you done that? Yeah, it's because it's terrible shooting. Partly, this could have been a second unit team, however, this sort of VFX heavy stuff. I'd be surprised if the director was really present for this level of like visual effects intensive stuff. Right, let's go classic. Let's go classic series. So Underworld, that's season 15, right? People were saying part 2 of Underworld. Let's have a look. Some makers. Underworld part 2. I have no context for this. Is this whole thing green screen? Is this... Are they entirely on a green screen set and the background... Chat, who is responsible for this? It's all on a green screen? Why? The only set in the story is the spaceship. Okay, so that was this. The spaceship set. That looks fine. Okay. Why? They're floating. They're floating in the cave.
It's moving on.
This shot's fine, but you're doing a full story like this? Oh, this looks rough. Budget was the reason. Wouldn't this be more expensive, though? Like, this is the mid-1970s, late 1970s. This wouldn't have been cheap. Oh, here comes K9.
Faster! Imperative move faster!
Oh, yeah. Watching a full story like this. Oh, that's got to be rough, right? Oh, yeah, you can see the cuts. Oh. Alex Baxter Scott, I believe the director of for this was a green screen model shot director, so live action was hard for him. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That's really interesting. Like, credit to the BBC maybe for being so accommodating to the director of this story, but surely you just think, okay, maybe you can direct the model shots, and we'll find a different story for you.
No. Throw it, don't eat it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it's not great. It makes them, because, it makes them look really small. It makes them look smaller and narrower than they actually are. Dr. Fancy, and to think this is what they had to pitch against Star Wars itself. Of course, this was 76, 77. Oh, God, yeah, this would have been going up around Star Wars time. Oh, the thing in the model shots in episode 1 are good. Okay, those like lightning effects, which are like stock BBC stuff. I'm happy with those. Those are cool. It'll squeak. You need to remember this is TV was 480i at best. That's true. That's true. But I still think that this, like, looking at those TV screens back in the late 1970s, something is still a little bit off. Like, even just look at this framing. He looks like he's floating above everyone. yeah, it's not coming together. I've never seen Underworld though, but we'll have to see. I have to see if I can watch a full 90-minute story like this. Kids, you don't need to go see Star Wars. We've got Star Wars at home. This is the Star Wars at home. We'll go a bit more practical. This is my pick. This one's for me, okay? And then we'll go back to the chat suggestions. People in the chat were right. It's Remembrance of the Daleks. It's the opening shot of Earth. And you get a very good-looking CGI Dalek spaceship. This is good CGI. It's like you only get a few limited perspectives on it. It's just the bottom of the ship as it looms over Earth. But that's a powerful image. Well, I think it's a model shot. I don't think it's CGI. I think it's a model shot. Either way, the perspective, the music, the Earth getting smaller in the background, like that's cool. That's cool. I think Goonboy, the ship CG, I thought it was a model shot. I think there's a shot or two where it's CGI, but this might be a model upon closer inspection. Either way, it's a terrific opening shot. Dalek eye stalk perspective. That's so cool. Like, I know that seeing the skeleton when a Dalek weapon hits a human is like standard now, but this was 1988. We'd never seen that effect before, and the fact that not only we get the skeleton effect, but the stuntman is launched off his feet into the metal grating behind him. That's so good. As he falls, you can kind of see the wire behind him slightly, but it's a blink and you'll miss it like frame thing. The actual impact of the stunt itself and the sound effect as well. He's launched. It's so good. There is this moment where the Hand of Omega becomes like a laundry commercial, you know, like Daz or something. A little bit silly. Oh, no, this is really bad. This shot never looked good. There we go. It's when Ace is looking up at the sky at it. Oh. Yeah. Oh, Professor, that's a wicked PNG. It's weird because it's back-to-back shots nearly, but this one of the shuttle looks so bad. But then when it actually docks, it looks so good. This is such a good shot. Like, look at the lighting and the sound effects as well. Oh, I always loved that shot. And the doors closing as well. Looks so good. But this moment here is one of my favourite moments of pyrotechnics of the whole of classic Doctor Who. This has got a funny anecdote attached to it, where the Imperial Daleks and the Renegade Daleks are fighting each other under a bridge in London. And the pyrotechnics were so strong, and there were so many explosions, that police cars turned up because locals were worried that there'd been some sort of like terrorist incident. I think it was like some sort of there was like a bombing anniversary or something. So people were already on high alert, and there had been some communications breakdown or something. They just had no idea that explosions for Doctor Who were happening. So that when the police did turn up and out of the smoke emerges a bunch of Daleks, they had no idea what was going on. But here we go. This is one of the greatest like Doctor Who explosions. You've got the Imperial Daleks here fighting under the bridge, and check out the size of this bang. And the IRA was still... Yeah, they thought it was the IRA. I think there'd also been an anniversary or something, so they were particularly on high alert. But look at the explosion of this Dalek. It's massive! It engulfs the screen! Like, they had no CGI budget, but the TNT... They splurged for that one. That was mad. Midnight Chimes. Oh, I think this is the one that blew out all the windows. Yeah, this is overkill. The explosion is so big, the prop moves backwards about half a foot. And I also love, as they're trying to flee, as the Daleks, the Imperial Daleks are trying to leave the battlefield, one of them also gets hit and explodes. Look, that freeze frame was so... I did well there. But look at that explosion. It's moving backwards. It's not just a static prop. It was moving backwards. Gets hit. Oh, yeah. There's a real tactile nature to the battle. I love it. It's a short set piece, but those explosions really, really work. The explosions were so big they damaged the Dalek props, and you can see the damage on screen. The gate yard, this is it. Oh, it's so good. This is one of the biggest television explosions I've ever seen. My goodness. Okay. They just destroy a gate, and you can see if they might have been cut out. One might be there. You can sort of see if you peer through the smoke really carefully, like during the frames, you can see that some of the roundels are missing from the props because they were right behind it when it went off. And some of the roundels have been blown off. If you go onto the DVD, you'll see some of the deleted scenes and some of the outtakes where you see the full version of this take, where they leave the cameras rolling as the dust settles. And the props are damaged. The explosion was that big.
The pyrotechnic boys exploded the gate so much that it broke ITV News' windows in this storage place. The smoke cleared, there was no gate, and all the Daleks had melted.
And that's cool. It clips him. It clips this Dalek, and then when it does, it jolts forward with the impact. And it smokes a bit from the inside. So good. Oh my god, this story's so good. Sorry. I'm just gushing about remembrance of the Daleks now. The background in Planet of the Spiders Part 4, when Pertwee's talking to the giant one. Yeah, let's take a look at Planet of the Spiders. Let's go for it. I've not seen Planet of the Spiders for a long time. I concur, no spiders. Okay, let's try and... I'll try and give a warning when... They are really bad-looking model spiders, if that helps. Okay, content warning for spiders. Okay, look away. Look away for I'll let you know when it's safe if you're listening, okay? Look away. That looks aight. It even had a little bit of movement to it.
Dare to harm us. Where is it? Show it to us.
That's not bad. They could have just gotten away with being it's just a static prop, but no, it's got a bit of life to it.
We know.
Here we go. Spiders are coming back. Okay, spiders coming back in 3, 2, 1. Okay. The Great One model is in part 6. Yeah, someone said part 4.
Is there any among you who would dare take it from me?
Look at them. They're just sort of vibing. The spiders are just sort of chilling, maxing, relaxing. All cool. Let's find the giant spider. Here we go. Yeah, giant spider. Honestly, this looks about on par with Underworld. The framing's really dynamic, though. We get the back of John Pertwee's body here, looking at the giant spider. There's also there's a lot of empty space above the spider as well. Maybe they could have lowered the angle a little bit more to make the spider more dominant in the frame. There's a lot of empty space at the top of here, but that maybe could have been used up a little bit more.
I will grant you one last...
Oh, it's a model! It's a model. It's not even a real he's not moved an inch. I think he's a little model on a plinth. He's a model. Sorry, one second. Let me mute my webcam. Look, he's a model.
The cells of your body.
Let me just mute him. Yeah. He's on a little plinth. He's on a little plinth at the bottom. He's a model. He's a John Pertwee toy. Available from all good retailers. Oh, here we go. Chroma Key Pertwee. Oh no, it's not a model. It is moving. It looked like a model. Right, you know it's bad when you think it's a model and it turns out it is actually just a person standing very, very still on what looks like a little plinth. Okay, so he's not a model, but he just really, really looked like a model. Here we go. Possibly the worst special effect I've ever seen from the show is Bygone lifting his face up at the end of part 2 for 4 to Doomsday. A worthwhile experiment for the time, but should have been cut for broadcast. What's worse is that it undermines a decent SEO shot just before it. Check out 2 minutes and 8 seconds in this clip, failing sourcing the episode itself. Thank you for the timestamp. Massively appreciate that. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's have a look. Yeah, so from 4 to Doomsday. There's something off about it. Yeah, it's when you freeze it. The head and the body aren't aligned with each other. Something has been chroma keyed here. What's been chroma keyed? Chat, help me out. What has been chroma keyed? I'm a little confused here. Oh, okay. Little did I know what else I was in here for. Okay, let's slow this right down to quarter speed. Okay. Right. Okay. God, that's one hell of a freeze frame. Okay, right. So, the hand... Good thing he's got a beard. The beard helps with the blending. Okay. Yeah. Lifts it up. The head doesn't move. He's been wiped out like a Star Wars transition. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, and then it just... Yeah, his features just sort of pop out. Yeah, that's not good. Dr. Fanjay, the actor is standing directly behind a separate prop of his own body. Read the info text for more. Ah. Okay, so yeah, that is bad. That is very, very bad. This bit, though, isn't as bad. You're more focused on the movement and the flapping of the skin than the chroma keying. I actually think they've hid that quite well. But then you get this. Yeah, it's oh, that is rough. Oh, and he puts it back on. Yeah, they just reverse the clip to put it back on. Yeah, it didn't look good the first time. If you can pause, you can see the real model face. Oh, yeah, I see it. It's like the Auton mask is slipping into the actual face. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah. It's not a good look. Every frame of this is like some sort of weird brand new illusion. Yeah, like this is where his eyes are on screen, but this is where the faces, like the mask's eyes are as well. It doesn't align. It's props for trying. This looks like something that John Nathan Turner and maybe some struggling VFX artist at the BBC at the time said, yeah, it'll look great. Like, this is what we'll do. It'll look fine. It'll look seamless. And then actually doing it wound up looking like one of the worst things ever.
This is me.
It's otherwise a pretty cool cliffhanger conceptually. They should have just left it. There we go. He opens up his chest. Then he says, "This is me." And then they sing The Greatest Showman. And then it cuts to credits, yeah. Oh, they flew too close to the sun. Oliver Bassett, that Logopolis moment on the gantry is a good shout. Oh, yeah, one of my favourite parts from that. I'll bring it up. I know which bit you mean on the gantry. Okay, so context in Logopolis. The Fourth Doctor is on the transmitter tower, and it's twisting and turning. And they need to twist the set. Here we go. Yeah, this is the bit. This clip here. So, you've got Anthony Ainley as the Master. Iconic. I love how I just said iconic, not knowing what was coming, and Anthony Ainley just immediately did something iconic. Tom Baker is on a moving set, a gantry here, in front of a green screen or a blue screen. The issue is Anthony Ainley's placement in this scene. You see him here? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He's watching his mortal enemy try and survive, yeah? And then the longer it goes on for, the more you realise it's just a still image. It's just a still image of Anthony Ainley's master. Flipsy, this needs to be a meme. What, Static Ainley? I did get this from An Awful Jack from An Awful Lot of Running. Keeper of Traken, but good God, the evil eyes. I don't even need to find the clip. This is just the actress with her eyes closed, and they've painted over her eyelids, which doesn't look great. It just looks a bit silly. The opening shot of Trial of a Time Lord. Now, that's worthy of talking about. I just don't know how I play that, do it justice, and not get automatically claimed. So this was like the most expensive shot in Doctor Who history at the time, wasn't it? Where you get this beautiful model, this really intricately put together practical construction, and they bring the camera into it, and they actually tilt it around and explore its crevices. I don't know what they did for the background, though. They do break down this effect on the Blu-ray. Check out the Blu-ray. But this was all model. I think the background was practical. They just maybe had a curtain or something to make the stars shift the way they did. It looks really cool. And to top it all off, you get... I think the only thing really done in post here was the light. Because I think they actually had a model TARDIS for this bit that they bring in. Either way, it's beautiful. Who knew? Have you done the boss model effect shot from Aliens of London before? We haven't, no. Yes, let's continue with models, because there's actually a fun bit of trivia about the one from Aliens of London. There's some really cool shots for the spaceship in Aliens of London. Yeah, like it's hitting all of the hallmarks of alien crash landing in London. You get all the landmarks in the background. That's a cool spaceship. I particularly love the spinning discs on the side of it. That adds an extra like dynamic element to it. Yeah, that looks really cool. I like that a lot. However, the bit that everyone remembers is hitting Big Ben. However, the prop's the wrong way around. They realised once that this was the model shot, they built half of Big Ben, because you can only see the two corners of it, and then they took a massive plank and they smashed the side of the model, only for them to discover that they used the wrong wing of the plane for continuity. As you can see, like, as you saw there, once the wing hits it, there's no third or fourth side to Big Ben. You can see straight through it. Like they only built the two sides, but you don't really notice because it's a cool scene. And yeah, they thought that Big Ben was going to get hit with the left wing. It actually would have got hit with the right wing. They had to flip the image around in post, and this Big Ben is not properly symmetrical. It's a reverse clock. As W&G fan in the chat says, it's a reverse clock. Not only that, but part of the decals are falling off. Yeah, they did this twice. 1 second. Can you find the clip on YouTube? Oh, cool. Doctor Who Archives put the clip up on YouTube for us. Haha, thank you. Let's find it. Because, yeah, this is a special effects. This is a behind the scenes moment. Yeah, as you can see, they're filming it with the left wing hitting Big Ben. And the whole clock falls out. They had to do it again because the whole clock face falls out. So everybody at Millennium FX and everyone had to build Big Ben again. Well, they built it twice already. They thankfully had a backup, and then they do it. That's the original shot. That's the accurate time. That's how it's meant to be. But they had to flip it. And the clock face stayed in. But yeah, even though like the impact looks so solid on the clock face, obviously it's been helped by CGI, of course, but it's all the more impressive considering that the clock face was like a bit of paper.
Resulted in the clock face falling out as one piece, and that made it an unusual.
Yeah, that's mad. That looks so cool. Who knew, says Mike Tucker is in the Corridor of Fame, did both this shot, the Trial of a Time Lord intro, and the TARDIS smashing into the Daleks and the... Wait, Mike Tucker... Same guy? Same guy who did this model shot also did Mysterious Planet? See, same guy who did model shot for Big Ben also did Mysterious Planet. That's mad. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know it was the same guy. Schmatt, please show the tank miniature and robot. Oh, yes. Yes, we're going for robot. Let's do it. Okay, so in Robot, in part 4, the big action set piece episode, the big robot has come outside. He's got a laser gun. He's shooting soldiers. And what are they going to do? What are they going to do to bring him down? It's a toy tank. It's an actual toy tank. Like, they went to a toy shop and they bought a toy tank. And they just rolled it up on screen. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay, yeah, and the robot is the costume is so reflective. You can actually see through the legs as it grows because the chroma keying is so out of control. Come on, Nicholas Courtney, do your best reacting to giant robot face. Okay, then Elizabeth Sladen tries to run away. And, oh my god, you've got to give them props for trying. So, you've got Sarah Jane, Elizabeth Sladen, in front of a green screen, laid down. Okay, she's laid down, obviously, chroma keyed in, blessed, they're doing their best. And... oh god, like, they just... She's still laying flat on the ground. It's wonderful. I love it so much. Let's knock down a toy house. Yeah. Love this story. So this robot, the normal sized costume, of course, is just carrying a little doll that's meant to be Sarah Jane. Just carrying a toy. I love it. At one point, the robot puts Sarah Jane on a roof. And she goes to grab a pole, like a drainage pipe on the side of the chimney. So she's reaching for it, like she's been instructed to do it. But she's not quite aligned with the background of it. It's not her fault. She's just doing what she's been told to do. And at one point they do a close-up. Let's try and find the close-up. Alex Baxter Scott, and this was put on the BBC official Doctor YouTube channel, boasting Doctor's greatest achievements. What are you on about? This is absolutely an achievement. You've got basically King Kong, but he's a giant robot. This is an achievement. What are you on about, Alex? She's grabbing onto an imaginary drainage pipe that's just not quite lined up with her hand. But props for trying, eh? Props for trying, which is the slogan of Doctor Who. Classics are ace. You need to find the bit in Green Death Part 5 where there's an overhead shot of the Doctor and Benton driving Bessie and it's a corky car on a carpet pulled by a string. If you can find me a timestamp, we're watching that right now. There's actually a YouTube clip of it titled Rescue from the Maggots. Oh, even better. Oh my god, it looks so good! Okay, here we go. Real Bessie with 3 and Benton. This is the shot, yeah? This is it? You know, if you hadn't pointed out that it's just a toy car over a carpet, I would have just watched that and not really thought anything of it. But knowing that it's just a little toy that's being dragged across the carpet just makes me so happy. Oh, look at him go. And this is the bit that stands out more to me, though, the chroma keying.
All right, Sergeant. Call up Jo and ask if she can see us.
How he's not even properly... Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Doctor Who is such a crazy show. And here come the maggots. Here they come. Yeah. Look at them. Who remembers that shot from New Earth where the cat is falling down the elevator shaft? Can we find that real quick? So yeah, she falls. And her body and the camera going down the elevator shaft is not remotely aligned. It's really funny. Yeah. The falling's not there. Probably the worst visual effect shot in series 2. Like, I'm quite confident making that. I'm quite confident making that assessment. So, when you do it frame by frame, so this is where Ursula's face is going to come out of on the absorbable off, and yeah, it's just blurry and it's not great. However, okay, it gets better as the shot goes along, and then that's practical, of course, stretching a bit of fake alien skin. And Ursula's face is, it's not quite matching up. I do like, however, the the remnants of a face that's on the Absorbaloff's right shoulder. Like you can still kind of make out the eye, nose, and mouth of someone who's just like died on the skin. That's a really cool detail. Great attention to detail there. But one reason I love this is because if you go to the shooting script written by Russell T Davies, they actually make a note in the script that Ursula is still wearing her glasses even when she's coming out of the Absorbaloff's chest. Like, Ursula's face rises up as a bulge in the Absorbaloff's chest. She is still wearing her glasses. Cut on the paving stone as the green skin of the Absorbaloff sinks in and disappears, the last thing left for a second is the Ursula face still with glasses on. And then the paving slab at the end. She's still wearing her glasses. Like this, Russell was really attached to this idea of having her glasses still be constant despite everything happening in the story. A kid created this, by the way. Oh, no, yeah, I'm not knocking the actual design. It was more just the actual execution of the CGI on it. It's a great costume. And I love the detailed faces on the prosthetic. I think it's a really good look. That's not even that bad either. The melting into the concrete. Having the glasses on was a real deal breaker for Russell. You can even see still underneath the paving slab Ursula's glasses there. Russell really, really wanted them there. Let's do it. Let's put everyone out of their misery, okay? Elton, fetch a spade.
Could be worse. At least I'll never age. And it really is quite peaceful.
Okay, so I was listening to a interview with Russell T Davies quite recently where he did not understand why people were upset at this ending and thought that if you did not find happiness for Elton and Ursula in this romance, then you might just be a bad person. My issue with this, and maybe I'll get to this at some point if I ever do a review of it, is that if apparently she says she'll never age, so she's maybe immortal in this paving slab. I think that's mad. But it's also the idea that when Elton dies, who's going to carry her around? She'll just be stuck in this shape forever. And how is she going to meet anybody else? How is she going to make friends? She's just going to be a paving slab. Once Elton dies, or if the relationship does not work out, Ursula's going to be alone forever. I think the dark implications of this really supersede the short-term happiness of the couple. I find it quite existentially horrifying. Russell thinks this is a really, really happy and endearing ending for the two and a lovely romance, but it's actually quite horrifying.
You'd be surprised.
It's a
There's
relationship.
one side-on shot as well that's particularly freaky. Yeah, that's quite a horrifying angle. Oh dear. No. Oh dear. And saying we've even got a bit of a love life, which it could honestly just mean dirty talk. It could just mean little kiss. But I think the implication here is that Elton's going to spend the rest of his days pounding the pavement. I think that's it's a bit too much for pre-Watershed on BBC One in 2006. So, let's talk about the Beast. This is a really good effect. The actual Beast, as a creature, as like a living, breathing creature on screen. The only real seams, the only real thing that gives the game away is the obvious distinction between the green screen background and the practical set that David Tennant is on. This bit at the bottom here, this is all real, along with the two plinths here with the vases and the costume. He's looking out onto a green screen set and this bit's real, but the fact that the two are so obviously segmented kind of gives it away. But the actual staging of it, because the Beast is in this massive chasm, this open space, it still works. But yeah, it looks... And the sound of the chains as they move. And this is a really cool shot as well, where we see the full body of him. And the hand on the far wall, the lit up eyes. That's really cool. But there's also some genuinely great moments of expression from the Beast. This shot's a little bit like when the Beast moves forward. Like, because the hand's in the way, you don't quite see the chains pull him back. I think the camera might have needed to be a bit further back to sell the idea that the Beast cannot reach the Doctor. And also, because the hands are... Yeah, the hand... It looks like he should be able to reach the Doctor, but he can't. That's really the only note I have for this. Because, like, the Beast is, like, walking back and forth or stood here observing as the Doctor monologues. Yeah, and the forked tongue, where the Beast is, like, actually reacting to what the 10th Doctor says, even though he has no dialogue.
That's just a body.
Yeah. I also, like, love the webbed skin on the lips as well. That's... Yeah. It's a design where, like, if you removed that, you wouldn't really miss it, but it kind of continues to bring it all together. And also that the chain is only attached to one horn because the other one's broken off a bit. This looks like some massive decomposing creature. It is 2006 TV budget fidelity, but the animation and the production design, the concept, holds really strongly.
Body is trapped, that's all.
Yeah, like he's reacting.
Devil is an idea. It almost...
Yeah, it's cool. They were really flexing with this. They were really flexing. And when he says, I have to sacrifice Rose, and the devil laughs. And the slight camera shake as well, as if the laugh is causing the whole space to quiver in fear. That's really cool. Yeah, looks good. Let's go back, because he breathes fire and it's really cool. Haha, that's a cool frame. That's me after I've had too much coffee. Sometimes the minimal stuff is really, really effective. Like, just the pure black background as the 10th Doctor's being lowered.
Deimos.
Yeah.
The Carlin God of War. It's the same image.
This looks so cool. Like, it just goes on forever. Really, really simple. This is a cool shot. Yeah, it's 2006 fidelity, but it still really works out. The gunshots in this episode are very weird, though. They are, aren't they? Content warning for strobe lighting, I guess, for anyone who might be epileptic. Yeah, what are they doing? Like, what is it that's off about this? Maybe it's a combination of the muzzle flash and the frame rate, perhaps? I don't know. It looks weird. The timing, blur. We're all agreed that something's not right here. Yeah. Something's not right here. Yes. Digital camera shake. That's it. Yes, digital cam... It's a lot of things going wrong here. It's something that, you know, you don't really notice too much at the time because, you know, guns are being fired super duper close to the camera. I said fired, but yeah. And also no smoke on the muzzle flash. They're washed out. The sound doesn't match with the flash. A lot has gone wrong here, shall we say. This is James Strong, isn't it? This is James Strong. The Impossible... Directed by James Strong. I was right. There we go. So, yeah, the Beast is James Strong, and the muzzle flashes are James Week. There we go. Brought it back around.